Today we're going to talk about log presses, log cleaning presses, log thrusters, log push presses, all sorts of things. This is a variation of an angled press. So this is kind of the equivalent of if you were using a landmine or a grappler with a pivot point and a barbell in a gym. This is the equivalent, except we're using rocks and bits of concrete and logs and things like that. So you can get lots of different logs. You can use different sizes, and the way you set it up can make it easier or more challenging. So if I look at this one right here, I'm 175 centimeters tall, to give you an idea about how tall this is. And as with most trees, you're going to have, or most logs, you're going to have a thicker end and a tapered end. Depending on how you set this up inside, it can dictate how easy or how challenging it is. So if I set it up so I'm pressing the skinny end, it'll be much easier. However, if I took the skinny end and put that into the pivot point wedged up against the rocks and I pressed the thicker end, it would be more challenging. So if we look at this log, this log is a little bit shorter, but it's much thicker. So this one is much more challenging to press. And I've got the thin end wedged into the corner here. You don't need anything fancy here. We just have some concrete blocks, but we've done the same thing with rocks, boulders. You could even dig a hole and sort of have the hole angled and just wedge it into the hole. It'll bounce around a bit. Sometimes it'll come out of place, so you have to put it back in, but that's fine. It's part of the charm of using this. So I have one side wedged in here, I have the thicker side here. And when we chopped it, there was a few sharp bits, but I just took them off, so it's, it's pretty well rounded off. So when we have this log, you want to think about how do you get it into a useful position, and what's your movement. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to want to clean it up to get it into some equivalent of a front rack position with your palms underneath it and your elbows underneath your wrists, so you can press with it. So all you have to do is just come down here, get in sort of a hinge position, pull yourself tight, and then pop it up and get underneath it. So this is a clean, and that movement by itself is very nice. From here, there's lots of things you can do. You can go ahead and do a strict press. You want to get full range of motion. So this is an overhead position. I'm leaning into it. You can do a push press like this. If the weight is too easy, you can go ahead and do a one-arm press. You could do a one-arm push press, things like that. And then also you can do sort of complexes or combinations of movements. So one of the things I like to do sometimes, I like to do clean into press, and that's a nice movement that people really enjoy. So you just do a clean into a press, then you do a clean into a press, just like that, and that'll get your heart rate up really quick. What we're doing today is we are doing thrusters with these. So once you get it cleaned up in this position, you can lean into it. This will help you get a deeper than normal squat. Find your angle. The first time you just need to find your distance. Once you find your distance here, it's just very similar to a normal thruster. Explode out and get it overhead, just like that. So ends up being a nice full body movement. People really enjoy when you do this. And don't be too exact about getting all the logs the same size. Get a nice variety of logs and then set them up. And once you have them, these ones are well over a year old and they're fine. They're not going anywhere. Sometimes they'll get a little bit lighter or heavier depending on the moisture, but overall they're just a really popular implement, and people are always really happy to see them in a workout.